The current culture in collegiate athletics is ever changing and as challenging as it has ever been. So I truly appreciate the leadership that our team is continually providing. That was Kirby Smart talking about Jerry Moorhead and Josh Brooks specifically after his contract. He said, I continue to be grateful and humbled by our administration's commitment to our football program. And he adds, I have an immense pride for representing my alma mater and look forward to that relationship continuing for many years to come. I've talked about this a lot. And I think it's an important thing to remember. You know, Kirby needs to be given all due credit, no question about it. And when he was hired by Greg McGarity in 2016, Georgia was not where they needed to be in terms of their approach to things. And that changed. It took about 18 months. I talked about this. I've talked about this a lot, but I do think it's very important. It took them the first summer. It took them the first summer and season to really understand kind of what Kirby was saying was true and was reality. And that was, we've got to invest, y'all. I mean, to go back in time and let you remember, Georgia had just completed a legitimate indoor practice facility with Billy Payne and his father's name on it. Two former Georgia lettermen, and obviously I don't think I need to explain who Billy Payne is. If I need to do that, you need to look him up. And then while they were putting the indoor facility in, they did not have the capability, the institution did not have the capability to leave the practice fields, which are grass, oh my God, I always get confused by this. They were grass. They did not have the capability to do the construction and so forth. I mean, it was a pretty big deal. So indoors getting put in, there was construction all around it. The new football facility was getting done. Everything was coming online right as Kirby got there. But that was just Georgia catching up, okay? And Florida's trying to catch up now. They're behind. They've been behind for a while, okay? But when you look at where Kirby was at, that basically put them where they needed to be. That didn't get them ahead. So like Alabama, I would say Alabama specifically, he understood where they were at because he was just there. So the new offices for football, the new the new indoor facility, that was essentially step one, and that started right when he got there. But then, and this is what he's talking about with the grateful and humbled part. Then you had, I think it was $60 million or $80 million reconstruction of the end zone underneath the bridge at Sanford Stadium. That gave them, I mean, honestly, everything you could need at a facility for game day. I mean, I'm at a lot of these facilities, like other schools don't have that sort of stuff. Tennessee has done a really good job at Neyland. They have done a really good job. Georgia Tech's actually done a decent job of incorporating what they, with their landlocked situation. But Georgia, it was harder. It was harder before they switched end zones. Where, for decades, Georgia came out of the railroad end zone, the railroad tracks end zone. And only in the last, I don't even know how long, 6 years, have they come out of the opposite, the bridge side. That has made a huge difference, so in terms of what you can do game day. You got your locker room, you got your recruiting lounges, all that stuff. That wasn't there. And so now you look at the next step for Georgia is they're clearing out the press box in the middle of Sanford. This won't matter to like normal people, most people watching this. But then they're taking the press box and they're putting the upper right-hand corner of the stadium. Now, that's not good for writers, for sure. And I would prefer the stadium, the press box be where it is. That's where press box belongs. But we live in a different time now, and you have to raise money. That section of where the press box has been for such a long time, that will now be, for major donors. Well, like, this stuff isn't being, all of the progression in Georgia's infrastructure and their football program, that's not being done exclusively through television rights, because I mean, Kentucky and South Carolina and Vanderbilt have the same amount of payout as Georgia does. It's that, and it's everything else, which is tickets, donorship, all that stuff. Donorship. I called it donorship, but any donations and all that sort of stuff. That it's a marrying of all of those things that gets you the ability to do all these things. It's what gives you the ability to have 190 some odd thousand 90 million, $192.7 million athletic budget. That's coming from, all of this. All of this confluence of cash is coming from, donors, television, and so forth, tickets. This is the largest athletic budget Georgia's ever had, and it's being spent on the thing that makes the most money, or the only thing that makes money, which is football. And that's one reason why Kirby and them are winning. But it's also that if you have like a chef who is just an amazing chef, you say, okay, chef, we're going to give you the kitchen of your dreams. We're going to give you everything you need. Whatever that may be, all the knives, they're going to be sharpened for you. You're going to have your shoe chefs. You're going to have all the bastes, all the liquids, all of the reductions, etc. that you need. We're going to take care of that. That will not be a problem. Facilities will not be a problem. I mean, you can boil water in a minute. And then you say to the chef, what else do you need? And they say, I need the highest quality ingredients possible. I need the best flank steak. I need the best, mushrooms, truffles, whatever it is in the world. I need them here. Then I can make you, 4-star, 5-star meals every single night, period. Well, that's what's going on in Georgia. Now, in addition to the I'm just going to call it $193 million budget, for the entire athletic department, but nonetheless, that is also being used to go get the best ingredients you can possibly get, which are the best players. The money isn't being used to do that, but that's what the recruiting budget's for. It's one of these things where it's important to understand that you have to be all in on stuff, to steal Dabo's term. You do have to be fully committed to what you're doing. And if you're not going to be fully committed to the process of winning at a high level, you should not expect to win at a high level. And it's my opinion that Georgia was not fully committed to winning, and frankly, until about and when I say Georgia, I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about administration, coaching staff, players. I'm talking about the entire mix of things. The understanding at the leadership level, that is not always easy to get across. As a person who spent almost a decade on a board of trustees at an NCAA institution, you don't always get full buy-in from the higher powers. They don't understand it completely. They talk like they understand it, but they don't really understand it completely. And what happens, and what Jerry Moorhead is getting every single Saturday, 12 times in the fall, probably 9 times in the fall, is a 3.5-hour national infomercial on his institution. Many times, 5 million people are watching that. And maybe 600,000 of them don't know the first thing about Georgia. So it's not free. You're getting paid for it. It's not even an infomercial. That's the wrong way to put it. So being, grateful and humbled, yeah. But all due respect to that comment, Georgia should always be this way. And, if Kirby's the head coach or not, Georgia should always be pushing forward in everything. You saw the success that Drake, well, maybe y'all didn't, Drake Bernstein had with women's tennis, narrowly missing on national championship. We're going to see what happens with baseball. They're going to be certainly a regional host, perhaps super regional. You saw the women, you saw softball lose and the super regionals. I mean, this is like, as Lauren Hill would say, this is just the minimum. This is what should be happening in Georgia. You know, you should be winning in a big way. And that's the part. It's everything combined. Everybody has to. I don't think that it hurts that the governor of the state is invested in an emotional way about Georgia either. Now, I don't think your governor has to do that, just for the record. But, you know, Brian Kemp cares. And I think that's good for the institution, too. So it's all of those things. All of those things matter. But the lead part of it is Kirby.